Hello, Morongo Basin, and listeners around the world online at Z107.7fm.com. Here is the Z107.7 local news for Wednesday, April 9th, 2025. The hearing for a fatal hit and run from last year has been delayed until the end of May. Here is reporter Adeline J. Wells with more details.
Troy Reynolds, the suspect in a hit-and-run that killed a Yucca Valley teenager, returned to court for an early disposition hearing yesterday morning. Reynolds is accused of striking 16-year-old Joshua Barreras with a truck and fleeing the scene on the evening of January 26, 2024. Sheriff's deputies found the teenager lying unresponsive on the center median of 29 Palms Highway near the intersection with Avalon Avenue. He was pronounced deceased at the High Desert Medical Center that night. A 4-week investigation resulted with the Sheriff's Department identifying Reynolds as the primary suspect. He turned himself in at the Joshua Tree Courthouse last February and entered a not guilty plea. Attorney Ronald Heading was relieved as counsel for the defense. Public defender James Rogan was retained and requested another continuation of the early disposition hearing for May 29th. Judge Sarah Oliver granted the request, marking the 8th time the hearing has been continued. Judge Oliver confirmed with District Attorney Jason Geltzlow that there have been communications with the victim's family and all witnesses about the advancement of the case. Troy Reynolds is charged with felony hit and run resulting in permanent injury or death. He is currently out on $500,000 bail. Reporting for Z107.7, this is Adeline J. Wells.
The San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors met yesterday to consider an appeal of the Planning Commission's approval of a 64-home development project planned for an 18-acre lot in Joshua Tree called the Lovemore Ranch. Online news editor Robert Hayden has the story.
The Morongo Basin Conservation Association, or MBCA, filed the appeal in February of this year, saying they didn't receive proper public notice of the hearing or get adequate remote access. The parcel in question is located off Alta Loma Drive in Joshua Tree between Hillview and Sunset Road. It's zoned for single-family residential use, and the county says the parcel can be split into as many as 112 dwelling units, but the Lovemore Ranch is only asking for 64. However, that lower density use also includes a wastewater treatment facility for the gated community. The MBCA says that the county not only didn't give adequate notice of the approval of the project, but that once notice was given, it didn't properly inform them that the Bob Burke Government Center would be available for residents to remotely participate. Yesterday's meeting was broadcast at the Joshua Tree Community Center, and about 70 residents showed up to remotely participate. President of the MBCA, Steve Bardwell, presented for the nonprofit, which also included testimony from neighbors Nelson Day and Elizabeth Proud from the citizen group called Joshua Tree Village Neighbors. Developer Axel Kramer and principal architect Mauricio Espinoza made the case for Lovemore, saying they've done their due diligence with the county and they've held community meetings and have spoken with neighbors since the lot was purchased back in 2020 for $300,000. Kramer says they've also received letters of support from the community, with some of them showing up to voice their support to the board. However, at Tuesday's meeting, the majority of public comment was vocally against the project, with residents speaking up in San Bernardino and remotely from Joshua Tree. Despite the appeal from the MBCA and the residents' testimony, the County Board of Supervisors unanimously voted to deny the appeal, meaning the 64-home development can move forward. 3rd District Supervisor Don Rouse spoke to the access issues at the Bob Burke Government Center.
I think we fell short as a county. We may have done, and I heard you say this, all that we were legally required to do. But in today's day and age of technology, where we can push this out in our newsletters, where we can do more than we are legally obliged to do, I do think we have a responsibility to do that for our residents, especially our rural residents.
And a lawsuit from the MBCA is expected to be filed. Tune into your Z107.7 Weekend News for more on the public comments from Tuesday's meeting, as well as more from the citizen groups that are opposing the development. You can find a link to the MBCA's appeal and more background reporting on the Lovemore Ranch at this story on our website, Z107.7fm.com. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Robert Hayden.
The Yucca Valley Planning Commission received an update on 2 new fuel stations anticipated for development in town. Adeline J. Wells rejoins us with that and more from last night's meeting.
Last night's Yucca Valley Planning Commission meeting began with an exterior color change application for the El Comandante Taqueria, located at 56945 29 Palms Highway. As the applicant was not in attendance to answer questions, the commission moved to continue the item to their next meeting. Town staff then presented an update on Program H1-3 of the Yucca Valley General Plan concerning accessory dwelling units. This program requires the town to promote ADU development in high-resource areas to help address the need for affordable housing. Town staff drafted a list of actions to help implement the program, including developing web pages, handouts, and workshops that address an overview of the ADU permitting process. The meeting concluded with the land development update. A CEQA review process is being initiated for the fuel station and convenience store at Walmart, and the Circle K development at Avalon and Highway 62 is updating plans following their completeness review. Nice Dream Ices has been advancing with exterior work to their building, and the vertical monopine project is determining whether to continue following feedback from last week's outreach meeting. Town staff also reviewed the tenant improvement request for Bath & Body Works to move into the vacant commercial space next to Vaughn's. Reporting for Z107.7, this is Adeline J. Wells.
The Morongo Unified School District Board of Trustees held their regular meeting last night. Reporter Gabriel Hart was there and joins us with this recap.
The meeting began with the board honoring Miss Yucca Valley Audrey Brady with her court. First Princess Casey Smith, Second Princess Alyssa Ramos, and Third Princess Sylvia Gonzalez, who led attendees in the Pledge of Allegiance. Assistant Superintendent of Secondary Education Amy Woods gave a recap of last month's Flying Doctors Free Community Clinic event at Yucca Valley High School March 8th and 9th, where the district's own CTE medical, dental, and pharmacy technician students assisted volunteer doctors to perform a total of 503 services at the event. Woods reported,
21 people were vaccinated. The Bloodmobile collected 18 pints of blood, which helped 54 people in our community. There were 160 dental patients seen, 43 extractions, 55 restorations, 124 cleanings, and 115 x-rays. There were 139 vision patients, where 166 patients received prescription glasses. Thank you also to the Flying Doctors Organization and Jeff Grabo for giving us the opportunity to teach not just career technical skills, but also the power of community service.
Assistant Superintendent of Elementary Education Dr. Gracie Gutierrez gave a presentation on the Dual Language Immersion Program coming to the district in the 2025-26 school year. The program will give assigned students instructions in English and Spanish, citing potential academic excellence and boost in cognitive skills, enhanced communication skills, global citizenship, and career advantage, unquote. The board discussed the program for a half hour with Gutierrez, with various questions, including the program's overall transparency, interest among students, and qualified staff that would have to take the additional bilingual licensure exam. Area 5 trustee Roberta Myers expressed concerns with its long-term sustainability given our, quote, country's current administration designation that English is our official language, unquote, as stated by the White House on March 1st, 2025, though she remained supportive of the program with the rest of the board. The board discussed this week's soft rollout of MUSD's new cell phone policy, where students are expected to keep their phones in their bags during class. Area 1 trustee Carolee Hargrove commented that, quote, it's going good, but there needs to be consequences, unquote, should students disobey the new policy. Amy Woods confirmed that there were indeed consequences, including, quote, confiscation of the student's device and subject to further discipline such as suspension, expulsion, or transfer to an alternative program, unquote. Reporting for Z107.7, I'm Gabriel Hart.
The Bighorn Desert View Water District held their monthly meeting last night. Annalise Kuiper was there and brings us more information.
The Board of Directors discussed changing the meeting date for the Planning and Engineering, Legislative, Finance, and several other committees to the first Tuesday of the month. This will allow the committees to take items to the full board at the regularly scheduled meetings on the second Tuesday of the month. Both meetings will now begin at 4 p.m. The board unanimously adopted this resolution. The current per diem compensation for each board member is $171.03 and is not to exceed a total of 10 compensable days in any calendar month. By unanimous approval, this amount was raised to $179.58 per day, not to exceed 10 days per month. A 3.5% cost of living adjustment for exempt and non-exempt employees was approved, and Appendix C of the range and step scale in the employee handbook will be amended accordingly. The board approved engaging Compass Consulting Enterprises, Inc. for services related to the environmental compliance and mitigation measures required for the Goat Mountain well. A professional services agreement with this company for the tank rehabilitation project was also approved. Tortoise and nesting bird awareness training for all staff and contractors that work on the project site and adjacent to the site will be required. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Annalise Kuiper.
And finally, The 29 Palms High School boys varsity tennis team hosted the Trojans of Yucca Valley on Tuesday. The Wildcats won 14-4. That's our local news. Hear local news 7 times a day, 7 days a week at 7, 8, 9, noon, 4, 5, and 6. If you hear about news happening, let us know. Email us at tips@z1077fm.com. Reporting for the Morongo Basin News Leader, the award-winning Z107.7 Local News, I'm News Director Jeff Harmatz.